Hey guys, it's Luke, back with another 23andMe video. So sorry I haven't recorded it in a while, just haven't had the chance because, school stuff. But guess what? Yesterday was my last day. So now I can film some more. So in the past few months, I have gotten my mom's results, my grandma's results, my mom's results, and my mom's dad's results, so my grandpa's results, and they actually came fairly quickly. The longest took like 2 or 3 weeks processing time alone. My grandpa's actually only took 8 days processing time alone. But anyway, enough of that. Let's get into my new results. So, waiting for it to load. Okay, so since my last video, they have updated a few things. So they have now added your DNA family, and I have 1191 DNA relatives, but here's the weird thing. So let it calculate. So, how have you guys been? Just drop me in the comments below. Drop it in the comments below. And this actually updated, because it used to say 1214 even when the number was different, but now it's 1191. So locations of your DNA relatives, my entire dad's side is from Texas and Mexico. I don't know where in Mexico, since they've all immigrated fairly like in the 1800s, early 1900s, and there weren't a lot of good records over there. So, lots of people in Texas have tested, and what's weird is that all my mom's side, from when they've lived in the U.S., is, at least my direct descendants, are from Minnesota. And some are in Oregon, and Minnesota barely has any, and Oregon has 0. But California, lots of people test in California, so I had to have some DNA relatives. And here's the number. And world map of where my DNA relatives reside. In Mexico, I have 90 DNA relatives there. And then this gives me the ancestry of your DNA relatives. So most of my DNA relatives have at least 1% Iberian ancestry, and the threshold for all of these is 1%. So then Native American, because lots of my DNA relatives are Latino, and then West African, Italian, Ashkenazi Jewish, then it goes down. And then compared to the average customer, your DNA relatives are 76% less likely to think fresh cilantro tastes like soap. And then all of these cool little snippets of information. So if we go to all of my reports, also since I last was here, they have genetic risk that they have for you. So for late onset Alzheimer's disease, I have a slightly increased risk for late onset Alzheimer's disease, one variant detected in the APO gene, and this best study in people of European descent. However, you have a slightly increased risk of developing late onset Alzheimer's disease. However, most people with this result do not develop late onset Alzheimer's disease. But only a teenager, so I got some time left before I might develop it. And these are just risk factors. And Parkinson's, alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency, and hereditary thrombophilia. I do not have those variants. And they added another carrier status thing too, but I don't have that, so I'm not going to go over it. And then my ancestry composition changed a little because of my mom. So when I tested my dad, only my dad, it was 18.4% French and German, now it's 18.8. Used to be 17.3 British and Irish, now 14.7. These all just are like little changes, not too big. So I think like if you have one parent, it's pretty much you get the majority of the benefit. And this is what I got from each parent. The right is my mom, the left is my dad. So I got almost all my European from my mom, some from mostly Southern European from my dad, all of all of the East Asian and Native American from my dad, except for less than 0.1% from my mom. But she has like 99.9% European and less than 0.1% unassigned, which I'll go over later. Still, all my African from my dad, all my Middle Eastern and North African from my dad, all my South Asian from my dad, and most of my unassigned from my dad. And then my chromosome painting, just basically the same as before. I'll give you a little quick second to view it. Okay, and then now for the interesting part. So the maternal haplogroups was updated, and I think they did the maternal haplogroups first because both men and women have maternal haplogroups, and they're waiting for the paternal haplogroups because not everyone has a paternal haplogroup. And then Luke, your maternal haplogroup is H6A1B, and these are the migrations. So it started in Eastern Africa, then went up, and then it went through the Sinai or across the Red Sea to form haplogroup N, and haplogroup R, and haplogroup H. And here is where haplogroup H spreaded. So it mostly spread through Europe and Asia and the Middle East, and it also spread back into Africa through Spain. And your maternal line, members of farther to the west, members of H6 has been found in the Caucasus and in the Balkans of Eastern Europe and at low levels 4% or less in Czechoslovakia, France, Ireland, and Sweden. So my grandma, actually from this test, is mostly Irish, so I don't know, it's probably pretty rare there. My maternal haplogroup traces back to a woman who lived approximately 7,500 years ago, and that's about 300 generations ago. And this haplogroup is relatively common among 23andMe users, 1 in 240, and this has been found in people in some steppe lands in Europe. And this is the science, maternal inheritance. So see, both men and women get their haplogroups, but only women pass it along to their children. And then paternal haplogroup stayed the same. Went to Neanderthal ancestry. Still the same, just got some more people to compare it with. And I am in 7th place. And my paternal haplogroup basically stayed the same, except now it has its own separate page, but I'm sure that it will get updated in the near future. Okay. Now, let's go to my mom. So, from what I have learned, I've always been told that she is German, Irish, and my grandpa recently told me that he is a bit Swedish on his dad's side. So if we go to ancestry composition, and she has 1,225 relatives. So what's weird is that at first she was more French and German than British and Irish, but then after she got phased with me, her British and Irish went up and her French and German went down. But after she got phased with my grandfather, her French and German went back up and her British and Irish went back down. And she used to be 100% European. Now she's 99.9% European and less than 0.1% unassigned. So she's 29.9% French and German, 26.5% British and Irish, 3.2% Scandinavian, and 25.7% broadly Northwestern European. And I'm only 0.9% Scandinavian, so hey, you passed down some more, and you also I don't know. And I got the majority of my French and German from her. She had 30%, and I had like almost 19%, so 2/3 of her French and German essentially. And then 10.4% Southern European, 3.3% Italian, never been told that. And then 0.7% Balkan, which I've now learned idiotically that is like Southeastern Europe, like where Donald Trump's wife comes from. Well, two of his wives. But you can see a whole separate video on what I think of him. And then 4.3% broadly European, and then this is her ancestry timeline. So 2 to 4 generations ago was British and Irish. 2 to 4 was also French and German. 4 to 7 was Scandinavian. 5 to 8 was Balkan. 5 to 8, at least 5 generations ago, she was Italian. And wondering where 29.9% French and German came. And this is what she got from her parents. So as you can see, most of her French and German was from her dad, some from her mom, and vice versa for the British and Irish. All of her Scandinavian essentially was got from her dad. Most of her Italian from her dad, all of her Balkan from her dad, and then hers unassigned from my dad. So this is also her chromosome painting. Scrolling down slowly. And then the bottom chromosomes, if you're phased with a parent, are from your dad, and the top is from your mom. And also, she has 2 X chromosomes that they tested for, whereas me and my grandfather only have 1. And then, now for my grandfather. Oh, wait. Hold on. Going back to reports, because we didn't review all of her reports. Because I was stupid. Oh, wait, now I'm on my grandpa's. Don't want you to see that just yet. Just tiring. Last day, it's summer, people. I don't care. And then her maternal haplogroup is the same as mine. And then her Neanderthal ancestry, more variants than 61% of 23andMe customers. She has 285 variants, and she's in 3rd place out of 5 of her family and friends. So, and then what's cool is that here, let's go back to my Neanderthal. So, I had a Neanderthal variant from one of my parents on the LPP gene, and each variant makes you 0.1 inches taller than average. I'm like about 5'5", 5'6", which is kind of tall for a 13-year-old in the United States, but it might be different for you or where you live in, what country you live in. So, I'm sorry, your connection is kind of slow. I might edit this out, might not, so. Okay, and then for her, she got 2 of those variants that I had. So that makes her 0.2 inches taller than average. That's not really true. Because she's like 5'4.5", but her mom, which I had to get one of these variants from, is like 5'8", 5'9" when she was younger. Now she's like 5'6", 5'7". And then the other reports she had, I'll show you my grandma's because she's not under this account, but she showed me her results. She shared the results with me through the email and paternal haplogroup. I don't know why they still gave this for her. It says not available. I don't know why I still gave it for her. DNA family, I have to be honest, is really not that interesting. Sorry, 23andMe. Ooh, but they did make a cool commercial about Gru from Despicable Me. His results, that's kind of cool. It showed like his long lost brother. And then my grandpa's results. At first, his French and German was over 50% before he phased with my mom. Now it's 36.8 because I guess they reassorted it to British and Irish. and Scandinavian, which he has 5.5% of. So, guess that didn't get passed along, like 50% down, like ideally, but hey, like I said, you win get some, you lose some. And Finnish, 0.9%. Now that, I don't know if that's just under the broadly Northwestern European for me and my mom, or we just didn't get it at all. And then the broadly Northwestern European is 28.5. Southern European is 10%. Italian, 3.1%. Iberian, which she did not pass down to my mom, at least not in her report, is 1.1%. So, I don't know how he got that. My ancestors, or sluts, I don't know. And then Balkan, 0.6%, and that's weird. Because how he got that, my mom got the less than 0.1% unassigned for my grandpa. He is 0% unassigned. He's 100% European. And my mom got 0.7% Balkan from him, and he has 0.6% Balkan, but that's probably hidden under the broadly Southern European somewhere. Then this is his ancestry timeline. Goes pretty far back. And then my great-grandma, so my grandpa's mom, is still alive. So she's going to be 100 next July. So she's 98, going 99 next month. But I wonder if I should test her since she lives in Minnesota, and she probably might not want to, but I'm not going to do it right now. And because he does not have a parent tested, these chromosomes are not top and bottom. Like the top is mom, the bottom is dad. That's not true. It's not true here. And then he only had one X that's tested. But if you have the same ancestry in both parts of the chromosome, like chromosome 1 over here, like this part is both French and German, so he got both that French and German from his parents. But it would be pretty cool to see the reports of his mom. That way we could tell what he got all the way back. And then his maternal haplogroup is T2C1b. Basically, it went in the same line as my haplogroup did, haplogroup H, but his didn't go back into Africa. It just spread to Europe. Well, yeah, actually it did. It went to the Sinai, but not through Spain. Basically the same migration patterns. And this was carried in like the Fertile Crescent, and his maternal haplogroup traces back to a woman living less than 10,500 years ago, and that's less than 420 generations ago. And it's relatively uncommon among 23andMe users, 1 in 630. And for my paternal haplogroup, from what I have read, it is pretty uncommon. Pretty uncommon. So I want to see how uncommon that is. And Jesse James also belongs to haplogroup T2. So those of you who don't know, those of you who live in another country, he was one of the most famous outlaws in the American West. And he was shot by one of his friends. That's how he died. So I don't know if that's good or bad, because he was an outlaw, but I don't know, 1880s, just how it worked. And then his Neanderthal ancestry is more 91% of customers, so 310 variants, and he is in second place out of 7 people. And then for the scientific details for the variants, he only had one of the LPP making you taller genes, and he's pretty short. He's like 5'8", 5'7", so this doesn't really I wonder how short he would be if he didn't get the gene. So he only had about a half chance of passing this down to my mom. So my mom has a half brother on my grandpa's side. So my grandpa has 3 kids. My grandma has 2. My grandpa has 3 kids, and he could have passed down either this gene, either the A variant or the G variant, to his kids. And he passed down the A to my mom, and she had to pass one of those down to her kids. So, and he also had a gene for less back hair, a T copy instead of a G. And this he didn't pass down to my mom, but he could have passed down to his other kids. And then for his paternal haplogroup, JM241, this is where it originated from, like right around here, Northern Africa, Caucasus, near India maybe, like Southern Europe. He has no Southern European ancestry that we knew before he took this test, so I don't know. So maybe and this is I don't know, sorry, maybe distant ancestors, probably. This is my grandma's ancestry results. So she is a mestiza, which is a Mexican woman made up of both European and Native American DNA, and most of the time they have African DNA. And then she has 29% Iberian, 0.3% Italian, 1.2 French and German. And what's weird is that I got all of that French and German for her, so I added to my French and German. And then 0.7 British and Irish. And what's weird is that she had like a great grandpa or great great grandpa who came from Britain, but she only has 0.7% British and Irish, so that might be hidden in the broadly Northwestern European. But both of her parents are dead, so can't test them. Then she has 1.7% Ashkenazi, 25.2% Native American, 0.6% East Asian, less than 0.1% Southeast Asian, and 5.3% broadly East Asian and Native American. Sorry if I sound kind of slurred. I was recently sick, and I still have a headache. I don't know why I'm making this video, but hey, you guys, hey, whoever watches it, thank you. And then 3.8% Sub-Saharan African, 3.1% West African, less than 0.1% Central and South African, 0.9% North African. So this is her ancestry timeline, and this is her chromosome painting. So mostly made up of Spanish and Native American. So yeah, mostly, but and then I will show you how related I am to all of my parents and grandparents I tested. So for my dad, share 47.6, and sorry to interrupt, but myself, but I don't know how my dad's results got I don't know how my dad's results got phased because he has his own account, so I can't really check. And I share 47.6% of my DNA with my dad. And what's weird is that I share that amount of DNA with my dad, even though I have a break in chromosome 4 from him. So I don't know how that happened. And 0 on the X chromosome, which is normal for a male. And this is his composition. Changed a little. 1.3% French and German, 32.9% Iberian, 35.4% Native American. So I barely got any Native American comparatively from him. 4% West African, and you share a paternal haplogroup, which I should. And then next will be my mom, and I share 49.9% of my DNA with my mom, and this is all that we share. And tiny break in chromosome 7. So look, it's so tiny that it's still like partially shaded in pinkish purple. So I do share my X chromosome with her, and this is my results compared to hers. And you share a maternal haplogroup with I share a maternal haplogroup with my mom. And what's so weird is that out of the 1191 relatives I have, I only got 89 from my mom. 89. It's so little. I don't know how I got that little. Maybe because not a lot of people tested, but yeah, they had to because she has like 1,225 relatives. And this is my grandpa, my mom's dad. And I share 26.3% of my DNA with him. So this is where we share our DNA. And I share completely identical DNA with my grandpa because him and I each only have, since we're male, one X chromosome, and he passed down his X chromosome to my mom, and she passed down part of his to me. So this is where we share our X chromosome, and this is our ancestries, and then compare our haplogroups. And then now, last but not least, is my paternal grandmother. So, I share 23.8% of my DNA with my grandmother. And what's weird is that with my grandmother, I share more full chromosomes with her. Whereas with my grandfather, I share more, like, just little bits and snippets with him. But I don't know, just completely random, maybe. And she did her paternal grandfather was born in Mexico. And these are ancestries put next to each other. And, yeah. So, pretty sweet deal. And then, my dad, he actually has a high school reunion, 30 years, coming up in August. And so, he wants to get a 23andMe kit for his dad while he's there. So, my paternal grandfather, and I want to see how I would share DNA with him. And I think that would be pretty cool. And, yeah. So, that's pretty much it. Sorry if I was a little bit droopy. This video, like I said, I was battling a sickness. Oh, God, idiot. Okay. Well, thank you guys for watching. You just, like, comment, whatever you want, subscribe, and if you go to the About part of my profile, you can see a link to help me raise money for more of my family members' kits. I have a twin brother, I have a full brother, and I have a half brother. And also my aunt and my uncles and all of them. So, and I hope to get all my immediate family tested. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.